Hello everybody, welcome back to Blues Focus TV for another full-time match reaction video. And sadly, we were unable to pick up any points on the road away at Middlesbrough this evening. Disappointing result, not necessarily a disappointing performance, but a disappointing result. Given our recent run of form, obviously unbeaten in our last four before this evening, I was feeling very confident going into the game. As for Middlesbrough, obviously sat 22nd in the league table before this evening, sacked Chris Wilder midweek, so feeling very up for it tonight, was expecting at least a point, but in typical Blues fashion, we managed to pick up a point away at Sheffield United at the weekend, but failed to pick up anything this evening. First half for us was certainly the weaker of the two. Thought we struggled to keep the ball, thought we created very few chances for ourselves. And when we did create those chances, there were poor touches in the box and certainly plenty of shots off target. I think by the 35th or 40th minute, we certainly had 0 shots on target. And I believe the first half actually ended that way. So a poor first half, in my opinion. Obviously, a controversial moment with Scott Hogan running through and the Middlesbrough defender taking him down. A few people saying it should have been a red. In my opinion, I think it should have been a yellow card. I can see why people are saying a red, but there was certainly a covering Middlesbrough defender fairly close to where the incident happened, and Scott Hogan looked to be about 30 yards from goal. So for me, I think a yellow card was a fair decision, but I certainly understand why people would be saying a red card as well. But I don't want to put blame on that. It is what it is. It happens in football. Correct decisions happen. Incorrect decisions happen. It is what it is. We're certainly not going to blame tonight's loss on that sole decision alone. But yeah, as I said, poor first half performance. The only shining star, I think, for us in the first half, and I've mentioned him a few times recently now, is Christian Bielik. I'm so happy with how he settled into this Blues team. I think it's so nice to have a confident, assuring defensive midfielder in the middle of the park. It'd be fantastic if we're able to maybe keep him on a permanent transfer next season. I just think it's so nice to have that defensive option in the middle to break down any oncoming threat through the middle of the pitch. So Bielik was certainly my shining light in the first half and gave me a little bit of hope. Second half, he did come off in the end, but he certainly looks like a strong player, and I know how fantastic he's going to be for us for the remainder of the season. But second half came along and we certainly looked stronger second half. Certainly an improved performance in my opinion. We were starting to create a few more chances for ourselves. We certainly had a 20-minute spell, probably between 55 and 75 minutes, or maybe 50 and 70 minutes, where we were certainly creating a lot more. It was just our end product in the final third that was certainly lacking tonight, and this is the disappointing thing with our two strikers. Obviously, in the transfer window, we were looking for another striker option. We were rumoured with Josh Maja, a few other players, Brandon Thomas Asante. We were unfortunate not to get anyone through the door, so we were left with Deeney and Hogan, as we all know. But sadly, those two are a little bit inconsistent. I think Deeney recently has been fantastic. His highlight performance this season, and Hogan as well, for me, were both against West Brom. And I think particularly Deeney that night, despite Hogan getting the hat-trick, I think against West Brom, Deeney, some of the chances he created and the passes he played that night were brilliant. Obviously got the goal at the weekend against Sheffield United, which was fantastic to see. I'm so happy for him for that. But in terms of tonight, they were both just lacking in the final third. They were lacking that end product. And it's such a shame, really, because coming off the bench, we don't really have those options. Obviously, Lukas Jukovic tends to come on in the 75th minute these days, but he tends to be fairly unimpactful. Joe Bellingham obviously comes on normally for 5-10 minutes, as well as George Hall. But most of the time, they don't have much time to impact the game. And I think if they were given more time, given certainly Juki's age as an older player, and Job and George Hall, I don't think they're quite the right players to bring on. And that's no fault of Eustace. Obviously, we're limited for options. But it's just difficult to see that consistency, certainly from Hogan and Deeney. And I think in the final third tonight, not just those two, there were other players who were missing chances. But it's certainly sad to see that end product not being utilised in the final third. But there you go, it is what it is. I thought our build-up play before getting to the final third looked good overall in the second half. A much improved performance. We certainly were the team on the front foot overall. Middlesbrough was certainly playing for that 3 points. They were defending for their lives, sitting back fairly deep and trying to catch us on the counter-attack as and where they could. So overall tonight, not the worst performance in the world. Certainly second half was much improved from the first. I haven't touched on Middlesbrough goal yet, actually. It was quite similar to the one at the weekend, in my opinion. The one at Sheffield United, which Ollie McBurney tucked away. The ball sort of bounced in the box once or twice this evening from a corner. And the Middlesbrough player, was just able to get to it before a Blues defender. I think Austin Trusty was around the ball. we were sadly unable to put a foot in. It's 2 scrappy goals conceded in 2 games for me. Maybe something different could have been done tonight to get the ball away. As I said, the ball bounced around in the box a lot of times before a Middlesbrough player was able to get onto the end of it. So whether it's just working on our reactions, I don't know. But 2 scrappy goals in 2 games, so hopefully we can look to eliminate those soon. But that puts us 19th in the league table on 13 points in total. So for me, the league table looks worse than what we've actually been this season. I think it's been a decent start, given what we have to work with this season. And don't get me wrong, the championship is very, very tight. I think there's 5 points between 19th and like 4th or 5th place. So it is a very, very tight league. I wouldn't look into our position in the league table too much. In 5 games' time, obviously, we may be a little bit more concerned in terms of where we are. But certainly the way we've been playing this season, the way we've set up, the way we look, I certainly don't think we'll be going down this season. But Bristol City at the weekend, they're obviously on very good form at the moment. But it's nice for us to have a home game. It feels like quite a while since we've been at St Andrews with international breaks and quite a few away games in recent times. But we've got a tough run now. So we need to make sure everyone's fully fit and hopefully put in a few good performances. Sad about tonight, but we'll go again at the weekend. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep right on.